Well, whether you're going into a career in business or, quite frankly, any field, mentorship can play a key role in your success. Ryan Nidell joins me now from Ohio today. He is very experienced in the field of mentorship, of course, being a CEO, a board member, and an entrepreneur himself. Ryan, great to connect with you today. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Listen, I know you really want to focus on mentorship, which is perfect because we actually have an intern right now working with us here on the show. But before we do, can we talk a little bit about your career? You have had your hands in many different pots, but you serve as a board member and you have helped make magic out of businesses.
I have in my own capacity. So, right as we speak mentorship, I think it's paramount to acknowledge that the growth that I went through in my career has been, so much attributed to having mentors in my life. I think it's one of those aspects that as we continue to rise up through the ranks, if you will, from maybe an entrepreneur to a CEO to maybe a board member, I don't know that the journey ever stops. And so I've had fortunate successes in the tech industry with a web hosting company and, of all things, custom clothing with an app, and he was a haberdasher for a period of time, then the CBD world, and now biotech and longevity space. And the mentorship side is just paramount. It never seems to stop. At least if you want a shortcut to the next level of the game you're trying to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I myself was an intern in the very beginning of my career. It really boosts me forward in a way that I don't think sitting in a classroom ever quite did. I think as I look at your career, which is very interesting and very diverse in the industries that you just mentioned, you've kind of come full circle with the mentorship. You yourself were mentored as a young man, and now you really think long and hard about who you might mentor. Can we start with your young self? Who mentored you, Ryan?
So I had a local businessman that was incredibly successful, and I didn't fully realize the scope and the scale of the success that this individual had. I started out as really what I laughingly refer to as his gopher, right? It was, go get this, go get that. And it was exposing me this entirely different way of thinking, coupled with then spending time as I was essentially the son maybe he didn't ever have. And so it allowed me to learn, of all things, sales, entrepreneurship, small business ownership and management. And it was in the manufacturing representative space, something that I haven't dove into in my professional or personal career. And so, looking back, I didn't realize the power of the mentorship that I was getting at the time from really 10 years old. We can guide to maybe 14. I worked for him all the way until I was 20. And over 8 years of just having endless amounts of access to someone that was brilliant and successful and generally cared. I can't put a price on what that was really worth to me.
It's so interesting because I can tell, it might have taken a while for you to catch on, but then you realize this example being set forth by my mentor, this is huge. But I would imagine the examples keep playing back in your head as you have come further into your career. Now you're in this space where you are mentoring others, but you don't just pick any old person who wants to work under you. What qualities and characteristics are important to you in a mentee?
Yes, really great question. So as I look for a mentee, I believe there's a few attributes that inevitably lend themselves towards success. One is the consistent state of curiosity, right? Someone that's not afraid to ask questions and to be vulnerable, especially today in the social media age and how much information is coming. I think it's paramount that someone's able to say, hey, why did you do that thing? Or can you explain this to me? So I think a sense of curiosity and then a sense of commitment, right? It's so often that someone will come into my life or perhaps in any of our lives and they're committed for a moment in time, but not committed for the duration of time to really get the lessons. And I think that as you're potentially looking to be a mentee, that, some level of commitment past 90 days, right? To me, there's a compounding effect as it goes longer and longer in duration. The more the lessons can be, disseminated, they can be owned by the mentee, which is right back to the mentor that I had at 8 years.
Yes.
Like you hit the nail on the head. I had no idea what I was getting at that moment in time. And then, as I look back over the past 5 years, it's like, oh, I'm doing this thing because of this message from 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It certainly catches up and comes full circle.
That's awesome. I regret we've almost run out of time, Ryan, but I just have to ask you, in terms of that new generation of entrepreneurs, and I love the lesson you just kind of laid forth, and that is, hey, you're going to have to put in the time. But are there any other tips that you have for young entrepreneurs in terms of their first steps?
Yeah, first step is to just start, right? The journey of a 1,000 miles starts with just the first step. And so often to me, I find even as entrepreneurs, past maybe the mentee side of things, you sit and you try to craft the exact right time or the exact right message, or the exact right entry point. And I don't know that really exists. The first step is to just get off the bench and jump in the game, shake some hands, introduce yourself to people, and say, hey, I'd really like to learn. I'd really like to come along on this journey. I'd really like to contribute and add value where I can, and see what happens.
Awesome. RyanRydell.com is your website. You have an outstanding YouTube page. I was just on it. You're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Folks, reach out if you have any questions for Ryan. Really inspiring stuff. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.